Greetings, everyone. Let me say peace, love, light to you all. May all be well with you all, your loved ones, your family members, and every and anything that you put your mind to accomplishing. I say peace to you, and welcome to everyone that's going to be viewing this or listening to this. Now, I came across um, a video that was shared with me, right? Now, I don't know if this person committed the crime or not. I wasn't there. That's not what I'm making this video about. I'm making the video about the proceedings that is taking place in the courtroom and what the video is showing. And I want people to understand what is actually taking place here in front of them. Like I said, I don't know if this guy committed this crime or not, of what they're accusing him of abusing a 22-month-old child. With that being said, put all emotions to the side and focus on the legalities or the manner of how the law is supposed to be enforced and how the public officials are supposed to operate on the law. With this type of mentality and behavior that you're going to hear, you're going to see why there are many innocent men and women behind bars today. And the ignorance of some of the folks or people out there in the public that give their opinions and ignore detail, right? Because the comment section was just the folks who were dropping information that made sense in the comment section, they got like 4 or 5, 13 views, right? And then the folks that was talking the most ignorant stuff, lock him up, throw away the key. He knows what's coming to him in prison. They was getting 2, 3, 400, 500 likes on their comments. All right. Down to even how the Daily Mail created the title for this. It says remorseless baby attacker has fiery exchange with judge. This is defamation right here. I'm just showing you guys how to set up, how things are set in place, and how the machine, and people who works for the machine, has no emotions when they're trying to sink you. Right now, I'm gonna show you why all of this is just wrong. Now, let me play the audio, and then we're gonna get into it.
I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I ain't saying it, so it don't matter.
And if you refuse to sign it, I'll sign it on your behalf.
Right. It is a tragedy when this child is involved in circumstances and details of this case, and there's a lot that the court is unaware of that needs to be brought to light for the best interest and well-being of this child. For the record, I would like my lawyer to adopt my motion.
Your motion's been denied, and I explained the reason.
This guy is trying to change his plea from guilty to not guilty, but the judge is not buying any of it.
All right. Now I'm ready to sentence. You have something on the sentence because you, after a very detailed colloquy, admitted to me what you did.
Under extreme emotional duress.
No, you weren't.
I was.
The questions.
I was.
I was there when you did it.
Okay.
So
I was forced.
Well, you're lucky you didn't say this on the probation report because I would give you 25 years. What else do you have to say?
Marcel Brooks is being sentenced to 15 years in prison for causing assault in the first degree after shaking his girlfriend's 22-month-old toddler.
Evidence in the court today.
Anything else to say?
Yeah, I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal.
Right. Now we're going to go over this order of protection. If you make it through prison,
I will.
Then when you get out, you are to stay away from this child. You're to stay away from him, his home, his school, place of business, no contact whatsoever. I'm going to give a copy to your attorney right now for him to go over with you.
I ain't signing it, so it don't matter.
And if you refuse to sign it, I'll sign it on your behalf because you abused a child years ago. You admitted to me you abused this child.
I got video evidence that showed that he had the injury beforehand. September 29th, 2016. The injury happened October 5th, 2016.
I'll make a note that you refuse to sign this. Okay. I'm signing this.
I would like my rights to appeal, sir. I wasn't explained the consequences of that from my lawyer.
You were explained it to me in court.
Yeah, he told me I can appeal.
That on your conviction for the crime of assault in the first degree, that you be sentenced to a permanent term of imprisonment of 15 years plus post-release supervision of 5 years. Surcharge is $300, $25 DNA fee, $25 crime victims assistance fee, and it's all to be paid out of prison funds. You have 30 days within which to file a notice of appeal.
I would like to put that in right now. This sign right here. I want the notice of appeal. Yep. I want to read all of this. So I'm not saying nothing that I can say that.
Now, I'm going to replay it back and break down what I see going on here. Right? Let's go. Because in the comment section, let's read the comment. It's the comments that really had got me. Let's see the comment section. 1 second, y'all. Comment section. Now, of course, I put a little comment down there, and they blocked the comment from being viewed, right? Because when I put my comment, but anyway, so someone put here. Now, this is a person that was trying to make sense of it. They put something is not right, but about this case and the way the judge was acting about this, about his decision was weird. If he presented evidence himself to them, why wasn't it thoroughly investigated and heard? And his lawyer is shiesty because why he not helping him? The lawyer said nothing. The lawyer just stood there quiet. There's another comment. The guy was in his sentence hearing. That means he already went through the hearings of when he could be tried to defend himself, etc. And the same hearing that brought evidence to light of what he did, and he himself admitted to his crime, and for all that happened, he was found guilty. They just made this specific hearing to sentence him and move him to a prison where he will serve his time. This hearing wasn't about changing the judge's mind. Doesn't matter. He could still take back his plea of guilty to innocent. Does not matter, which is what he did. As long as you're in front of that judge, it doesn't matter what you're in court for. As long as you're in front of that judge and you recuse or recant your plea of guilty to innocent for the record, on the record, then it's on the record. You understand? If sentencing has not been fully enforced right there, because even if he went to court to be sent for the finalization of sentencing and then to send him to whatever prison, that gavel did not hit. Court is in session. His case is still going on. He has all the time up until then to recant. But let's keep going here. People don't take kindly to crimes against children, so I hope they find out why he's there, and he goes through hell just like that baby did. Uh, the man has the right to full representation, which, if you listened, he was not given. I understand it was a child, truly, I do, but it sounds like he was lied to by both sides to just get a conviction. And it happens every day, people. I see all these comments, but would you be okay with evidence not being presented that you're being convicted on really? The judge is wrong. The system is wrong. Do your job and convict him without lies and backroom deals. That what I'm saying, because we see it every day, people. Being found guilty after serving 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? So now this person is making um, valid points. How many times have y'all seen this? And then the same people, I'm gonna show you the hypocrisy though, because most of the people in the comment section condemning this man or Caucasian folks, saying that he need to get what he deserves in jail. He's just afraid because he knows what's coming to him when he get locked up. Well, let me tell you something. It's not everybody that you see go to prison for something dealing with a child and things happen to. There are some that once those men in the prison hear their case and how their case was set up, they could tell if they were being done wrong or not, or if they actually did it. The ones that actually did it, those are the ones that the other prisoners go after. But the ones that are being set up, those prisoners aren't going after them for false accusations or knowing that one was coerced by a judge and policy officers just to get a conviction so that they can make millions off of this man's head being locked up in prison. Okay. Let's keep going. Oh, this person, I have so many questions. A judge can deny an appeal prior just that quick and then tell him he can appeal in the same breath? Yep, if y'all listened. And if also they, in the time where I was listening to this audio in the beginning, earlier, well, this was sent to me yesterday. I listened to part of it and I fully listened to the rest today. They re-edited back this audio, right? Because there's parts where the person came in and started talking over the guy, the person that posted this, started talking over him, so you couldn't hear some of the stuff that he was saying, and they deliberately did that. Um, so sick of these dudes not owning up to what they did, talking like he knows more than the judge. These are these are ignorant people, and they tell you that you think you know more than the judge. Sometimes in some cases you actually do, or the judge is just playing a game of cat and mouse, trying to trip you up so that they can again just get you sentenced. And in a lot of these courthouses, they don't care if you did it or not. They just need another body in prison, because remember, majority of the prisons on American soil are privatized prisons. That means the judge gets a commission fee off of each person that he sends into a privatized prison. So does the prosecutor. Not only does the prosecutor get a fee off of that, so does the defense attorney, because they're all a part of the bar association. Okay, especially if you're a public defender. Public defenders work for the city. Prosecutors work for the city. So does judges. So there's a major conflict of interest it would be more profitable if he went to prison than not go to prison for them. Now let me replay back the audio and let's get into this. Give me 1 second. Wow, now the sound is gone. Yeah, I can't make this stuff up. It won't play. It won't play. It won't. Let me try something. Hold on. There we go.
Not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea. I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm saying it, so it don't matter.
And if you refuse to sign it, I'll sign it on your behalf.
It is a tragedy when this child is involved in circumstances and details of this case, and there's a lot that the court is unaware of that needs to be brought to light for the best interest and well-being of this child. For the record, I would like my lawyer to adopt my motion.
Your motion's been denied, and I explained the reason.
This guy is trying to change his plea from guilty to not guilty, but the judge is not buying any of it.
All right, now I'm ready to sentence. Do you have something on the sentence? Because you...
See, he has not been sentenced yet. Hear what the judge said? Now I'm ready to sentence. He hasn't been sentenced yet. So sentencing has not been passed down or handed down. So he has all right before the judge commences his sentencing to recant his plea of guilty to not guilty. And the judge is not just supposed to just up and say denied just like that in the one same breath right away and then tell him that he can't appeal, then going to tell him in the same breath, oh, but you can appeal when you go to prison. You understand? It's either he can't appeal or he can appeal, or you're stonewalling him. Now, why is this judge so emotionally attached to this case to stonewall this man? People will say, well, he cares about what happened to the child. But pay attention to what this man is saying. This man said that it's a false confession, and the judge admitted to being there for this false confession. Do you understand? This man said that it was done on the duress and coercion. Do you know what that means for a judge if you're there in a room while someone is being coerced into a false confession? Pay attention.
I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I ain't signing it, so it don't matter.
And if you refuse to sign it, I'll sign it on your behalf.
That's fraud. That is fraud. No judge, no magistrate, no policy officer, no one could sign any document on your behalf for you without your permission. Now, I thought that was very interesting when that acting judge said that, because it made me think how many brothers and sisters are in prison because a judge or a lawyer signed documents with their names on it on their behalf without their permission, or them not knowing that these people cannot do that. These people cannot do that. That is fraud. That is against the law. You understand? To forge someone's signature or sign something because you're trying to, with someone's name on it, because you want to be able to punish them how you want to be able to punish them for recanting on a plea that the person is letting you know was done out of duress and coercion. Now, a lot of people, if you're not familiar with the court system or the prison system or the jail system, they do coerce you. In a lot of these cases, they are coerced, they are threatened, right? And weak men and weak women confess every day to crimes that they have not committed. Now, if he has a public defender, because the public defender, again, is a part of the bar and works for the city, so does a prosecution office works for the city. So does the judge works for the city. The public defender, 9 times out of 10, will always say to cop a plea, even in cases when you're outright, bold-faced innocent. They will always 99.99999% tell you to plead guilty. Just plead guilty, so you get a lesser sentence, and just plead guilty. Then they'll give you the scare tactic. Well, if you take it to trial and you lose, instead of doing 15 years, you're going to be doing 35 years. And then they tell you, and then you go ahead and you plead guilty to something that you probably never did, because the public defenders don't want to go up against the prosecutors or the prosecution office because it's a conflict of interest. That's one. Because two, they both are still getting paid whether you go to prison or not. They just get paid more money when you go to prison. Okay? Let's keep going.
I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I ain't signing it, so it don't matter.
And if you refuse to sign it, I'll sign it on your behalf.
It is a tragedy when this child is involved in circumstances and details of this case.
Now, if it was a situation, right, to show you, because the person made a comment that he can't appeal, like to show you how deaf, dumb, blind, and just stupid some people are. That's why the judge is giving him that paperwork from the sign. You understand? That's why he said, I'm not signing nothing. Right? And I'm not signing nothing until I get a chance to fully read it. Right? Because they was trying to get him, put him in a corner to sign some documents in the courthouse that will deny him his right to appeal. That will deny him his right to change his plea. And his lawyer tried to trick him into signing those documents. So when he was walking off, he was like, I'm not, matter of fact, you know what? Now I'm not signing that until I get to read it. This happens every day, people. Every day. I'm not talking about him or allegedly abusing, because I can't do like the Daily Mail and say that this man did it. This man recanted his plea of guilty back to innocent. So I can't put out information saying that, well, he did it. Now that's defamation. But this man is saying that he was coerced, he was threatened to make a false confession, which we know is very common, especially when it comes to melanated, dark-skinned men and women. You understand? It's very common. Let's keep going.
I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I ain't signing it, so it don't matter.
And if you refuse to sign it, I'll sign it on your behalf.
It is a tragedy when this child is involved in circumstances and details of this case, and there's a lot that the court is unaware of that needs to be brought to light for the best interest and well-being of this child. For the record, I would like my lawyer to adopt my motion.
Your motion's been denied, and I explained the reason.
This guy is trying to change his plea from guilty to not guilty, but the judge is not buying any of it.
All right. Now I'm ready to sentence. Do you have something on the sentence? Because you, after a very detailed plea, admitted to me what you did.
Under extreme emotional duress.
No, you weren't.
I was.
Asked you the questions.
I was.
I was there when you did it.
Okay.
So
I was forced.
Well, you're lucky you didn't say this on the probation report, because I would give you 25 years.
I got.
What else do you have?
Marcel Brooks is being sent.
So you heard the judge? He threatened him. He threatened him for wanting to change his plea from guilty to innocent. He threatened him to give him, if he had never confessed, in the first place, instead of giving him 15 years, he would have given him 25 years. So it backs up what the young brother was saying, that he was coerced into making taking a plea deal and pleading guilty, because the judge just admitted to it by telling him that if he had never pleaded guilty, he would have given him 25 years instead of 15. But folks aren't listening, though. This judge should not be on this case. Too much emotions. When you're a magistrate or a judge, you can't have any feelings for towards negative or whatever towards the folks that you're supposed to be making rulings on or particular cases, right? Because a man can definitely be innocent, and because you're in your feelings to how gruesome a crime probably was, you already prejudge that this man is guilty. Many men made false confessions and did 20, 30, 40, 50 years in prison. Some man has been executed on death row for crimes that has been proven by DNA that they never committed, but they still execute them anyway because these prisons are privatized. So you get more money in privatized prisons for housing bodies, and then especially if it's a death penalty, they get way more money, right? Let's keep going.
I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I ain't signing it, so it don't matter.
And if you refuse to sign it, I'll sign it on your behalf.
No. It is a tragedy when this child is involved in circumstances and details of this case, and there's a lot that the court is unaware of that needs to be brought to light for the best interest and well-being of this child. For the record, I would like my lawyer to adopt my motion.
Your motion's been denied, and I explained the reason.
This guy is trying to change his plea from guilty to not guilty, but the judge is not buying any of it.
All right, now I'm ready to sentence. You have something on the sentence because you, after a very detailed plea colloquy, admitted to me what you did.
Under extreme emotional duress.
No, you weren't.
I
asked you the questions.
I was.
I was there when you did it.
Okay.
So
I was forced.
Well, you're lucky you didn't say this on the probation report because I would give you 25 years. What else do you have?
Marcel Brooks is being sentenced to 15 years in prison for causing assault in the first degree after shaking his girlfriend's 22-month-old toddler.
Evidence.
Now, the fact that he recanted his guilty plea, see, when she's saying after shaking, she's accusing him of something that he's literally saying that he didn't do. So she should have said after allegedly, but she never did that because everything matters in the court of public opinion before it even really matters in an actual courtroom. Court of public opinion, because a lot of people are going to see this, and who are going to be the jurors that's going to be on your case, the folks that done seen this on social media and all over the place, right? So by her wording and even how they edited the title of this whole thing, yeah, they're making sure that they're going to sink this man no matter what, right? By painting him a certain way where his video proof might paint him in a better light. So there, and the judge, when he mentions about the video evidence, the judge totally blows it off and ignores it, right? Let's keep going.
I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I ain't signing it, so it don't matter.
And if you refuse to sign it, I'll sign it on your behalf.
It is a tragedy when this child is involved in circumstances and details of this case, and there's a lot that the court is unaware of that needs to be brought to light for the best interest and well-being of this child. For the record, I would like my lawyer to adopt my motion.
Your motion's been denied, and I explained the reason.
This guy is trying to change his plea from guilty to not guilty, but the judge is not buying any of it.
All right, now I'm ready to sentence. You have something on the sentence because you, after a very detailed plea colloquy, admitted to me what you did.
Under extreme emotional duress.
No, you weren't.
I was.
Asked you the questions.
I was.
I was there when you did it.
Okay.
So
I was forced.
Well, you're lucky you didn't say this on the probation report because I would give you 25 years. What else do you have?
Marcel Brooks is being sentenced to 15 years in prison for causing assault in the first degree after shaking his girlfriend's 22-month-old toddler.
Evidence in the court today.
So what she attempted to do was talk over the fact that he was letting the judge know that that he has video evidence to prove his innocence, or to prove that the injuries that they're blaming him for in October actually took place in September, a whole month before October, right? So she was talking over that so you couldn't hear that part, right? To show you the setup. You see what I'm saying? To show you the setup to why she went ahead to speak over that part.
I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm
sentenced to 15 years in prison for causing assault in the first degree after shaking his girlfriend's 22-month-old toddler.
Evidence in the court today.
Anything else to say?
Yeah, I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal.
Now we're going to go over this order of protection. If you make it through prison,
I will.
That's a threat. A judge is not supposed to tell a person if you make it through prison. You threatened him on the sentences about his probationary appeal, right? Then now you threaten him again to say if you make it through prison. What? What do you mean if this man makes it through? But again, look what they did to Sancho Bland. You understand? They hung her. They hung her. I got a friend that when he was arrested, he had no belt, and they hung him in what they call out in Jersey, what they call it. They call it the Green Monster, something like that. They call it. They hung him. Came and found a belt around his neck, and when he was arrested with no belt on. He had no belt. Had no shoelaces in his shoes. Right? He was an activated man. Right? So, but the day when they came for him, he took out all these things: his laces, took his belt, all of that. So when they arrested him, he had no laces in his shoes, no belt, and he was found hanging in a cell. So again, people comment on stuff without hearing everything in its entirety. I will not deem this man as guilty until it is actually all the evidence has been shown and proven so. You see what I'm saying? So if this man is saying that all this evidence, this video evidence that could prove what he's saying has not been shown to the court, which is obvious by the way how the judge is acting, that he denied him all this shit for all this stuff to be shown for him to prove his innocence. So he did not receive a fair trial, and he's not receiving a fair trial. Put your emotions aside to what he allegedly did to the young child. Put the emotions aside. And think, what if this was you? You would want a fair trial, right?
I'm withdrawing my plea of guilty to not guilty.
Withdrawing
my plea of guilty to not guilty, and I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal. I'm withdrawing my plea to appeal.
Now we're going to go over this order of protection. If you make it through prison,
I will.
Then when you get out, you are to stay away from this child. You're to stay away from him, his home, his school, place of business, no contact whatsoever. I'm going to give a copy to your attorney right now for him to go over with you.
I ain't signing this, so it don't matter.
And if you refuse to sign it, I'll sign it on your behalf.
They need him to sign that. When it comes to order of protections, restraining orders, these things, they need you to sign. And that's what makes them enforceable. You have to sign it. Well, you don't have to. They need you to sign it. They need to have your signature on there. You understand? So if you don't sign it, it's difficult for them to enforce it. Let's say. But yeah, they need you to sign, especially if they don't have an affidavit of truth by the victim or whoever the custodian of the victim is, right? To say that you actually did this or actually did that to them, and so on and so. That would now make a warrant or the order of protection now valid, because they need that with the affidavit of truth of the victim's complaint, and so on and so, and the victim's signature also, right? But look, man, the judge is acting as administrator on behalf of the dude. That's what the judge was acting as. So this guy looked like he learned a little bit of stuff, and he's using it back in the courthouse or whatever by not signing those documentations and these type of things, and realizing that, hey, he was being railroaded, right, by his own lawyer. Like I said, we see it all too often. But when the judge acts as administrator for your estate, it is the straw man named the all capital. It's what the judge is acting as administrator for. And what the judge does, because the judge is acting as administrator for that all capital name, which is an estate or estate name, the judge is acting as the custodian for you, right? Which should give him right to sign off on documents for you, but because you don't know that, because you are deemed incompetent. But when the young man says, what he was saying and that he recants this and so on and so, that took that power away from that judge, and he knows it. Now he can no longer, when the young man says that he's not signing nothing, for the record, he's not signing nothing. Now that judge cannot go and say that he's signing this and that on behalf of the young man and use the young man's name, right, to screw him over, right, into a way longer sentence and all these type of stuff and yada yada yada. What comes after that? Okay, so anytime you step in front of a magistrate or a judge, they're acting on behalf of you, and you're the one that's supposed to voice yourself and take that power away from them or direct them to how they're supposed to be acting, to what they're supposed to be doing, right? But yeah, that being said, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here. Like, look, man, um, the world is the way it is because we have a lot of ignorant people out there. And we have people that just act off of emotion and they don't act off of based on what the evidence is or hear the full side or both sides to a story. They just listen to one side and then boom, 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 they get emotionally involved. And next minute, you know, that's it for you. So if you can imagine if a judge is acting like that, if you can imagine how the people's in the comment section, the ones who are saying this man deserves what he's going to get, and what these people are going to do to him when he goes to prison and these things. Mind you, these people is making all these ridiculous comments before actually listening to this young guy say that, hey, I was coerced, I was threatened into making a false confession. So on and so, hey, I have this videotape proof to prove that I didn't do what you're accusing me of doing. All these stuff got ignored because people was in their feelings. All of this stuff got ignored. Wake up, people. Wake up. That being said, I say peace, love, and light. I'm out of here.